afternoon to you. I'm Jennifer Baylor.
And I'm Shaquille Lord. We're going to start with weather as it's a severe alert day in our area.
Yeah, the expected rain and strong storms are the remnants of Hurricane Beryl. Meteorologist Mo Rose is here with more details. Hey, Mo.
Hey, guys. Yeah, so we are going to be on the lookout for some stronger storms today. We have a few that have already moved through the viewing area, but no warnings. And here behind me, this is the remnants of now post-tropical cyclone Beryl. It's actually picked up in speed as far as its movements, but the winds have come down quite a bit. Kind of a broader look here, what you are seeing, any of the storms that have developed already, those are kind of the outer parts of it. What we're going to be watching for later is the more dangerous part of the tropical or post-tropical cyclone is that twisting and turning, and that's going to be with us later on today. Because of that, the Storm Prediction Center has part of the area under an enhanced threat. That's 3 out of 5. So we're going to be watching especially carefully between 3 and midnight tonight. We could be getting isolated tornadoes because of some of the twisting and turning in the atmosphere that is associated with Beryl. Strong wind gusts are also a very big concern. Taking a look at the one storm that we are watching, this has fallen apart quite a bit. We are still seeing torrential rain. We had a little bit of pea-sized hail in this particular storm that's now pushing from Trumbull into Carroll County, and you can see in those colors, look at that. It is just coming down in buckets. And notice as I zoom in even more, you see those little bits of purple there, could have a little bit of hail in it. Now off a little south, right over Shelby County, we did have another heavy downpour to develop just north of Shelbyville. But zooming out, that really is the only couple of games in town for now, aside from maybe a couple of showers developing over Litchfield and Grayson County. In the metro, we are dry. It is just very warm and muggy. 82, feeling like 86. And as we go through the next 12 hours, we're going to get low 90s this afternoon. In between the times that we do get any storms, that humidity is going to ramp up. It's going to feel very sticky outdoors. And as we get closer to the evening hours, that's when we got to be weather aware, watching for any very strong storms to develop. We could have some warnings as far as severe thunderstorm warnings. We could also have tornado warnings. So you have to have, or at least be prepared for that type of activity. Get that WLKY app on your phone. And if you're away from your television set, you got your phone with you most of the time, so that will help alert you in case any bad weather does approach. We'll put a track on some of these storms and then let you know when we have more tranquil weather coming up. Jennifer.
And I have a friend in Houston right now, and she posted some pictures just like that tree, debris everywhere.
Yeah, it's just incredible just seeing the damage and, of course, all the flooding there. Certainly thoughts and prayers for those families. But back here at home, Mo, we're expected to see some remnants of Beryl here?
We are. In fact, we're already starting to see some of them. We had some extremely heavy downpours with some of these showers and thunderstorms that have already moved through. At the moment, I want to take you up to Carroll County. We're seeing the more intense part of this storm is currently pushing out of Carroll County, heading towards Gallatin County. But you can see in Jefferson County in southern Indiana, a couple of lightning strikes here. So this is a thunderstorm with these torrential downpours. This is going to continue to move off to the north and east, but we're going to be watching for more of these to develop later on this afternoon. Over the metro, we are dry. We are just warm and muggy, 82 right now, and we're going to continue to warm up, and the air just very moist. It's very tropical out there. We're going to be in the upper 80s this afternoon, heading towards the low 90s by 4. This is also when we're going to start picking up on a few more thunderstorms. Some of these could be strong to severe, and I think your best chance for any type of more tornadic activity, if that does occur, because that is a possibility, we're going to be watching in the evening hours. So it's imperative that you have the WLKY app on your phone, just because a lot of these happen when it's dark, you're headed to bed. Severe storms are possible tonight. It's going to end up ending around midnight, a little bit after. We're going to stay on the warm side, a low of 70. Now let's talk about this and walk you through it on the forecast radar. As we get deeper into the afternoon, that's when we're going to start seeing more of development from the remnants of Beryl. And these are heavy downpours, damaging wind gusts through the evening, and it'll be even more intense as we get later in the evening. There's a little bit more twisting and turning of the atmosphere as that the earlier eye of that storm, which is obviously not in play anymore, but the more intense part of that storm, that will continue to push closer to us later on tonight. So here we are at 7:30, still seeing some of those stronger storms moving through. Here we are at 10:30, and this isn't exactly how it's going to play out, but this is just one model's idea area of where we could have some possible strong to severe weather. But here we are at 12:30, and that's starting to push out of the viewing area, and things start to calm down. So by Wednesday morning, we could have some lingering showers, but the better chance for all of the storms, that's coming later on this afternoon and tonight. Severe weather threat, this area, this orange area, that's the more severe part. The enhanced threat, it's 3 out of 5. And we're going to be watching pretty much from 3 to midnight for any isolated tornadoes and very strong wind gusts. In that slight category, that doesn't mean you're out of the woods. And same with the marginal threat. I just want you to be weather aware from 3 until midnight. Once we get past tonight, things start to calm down and cool down too. Look at that 84 for our high tomorrow. Now on Thursday, there's a chance for a few showers. We're not expecting thunderstorms. 88 for the high. 90 on Friday, we're dry, and then we're really heating up on Saturday with a high of 93. I think that heat and humidity is going to combine forces to create a couple of isolated summer-like storms on Sunday. And then we're drier, but I wouldn't call any of us dry. We're all going to be sweating Monday and Tuesday. 95 and 97.
Wow.
Ooh, summer in the Ohio Valley. But yes, please have that app on your phone just so we can connect with you outside, you know, if you're away from your TV.
Yeah.
All right, Mo, thank you so much.
You're watching WLKY News.
And good afternoon and welcome back. It is a severe alert day and we're already seeing rain in the viewing area. And what we're seeing this afternoon are the remnants of Hurricane Beryl.
Meteorologist Mo Rose keeping an eye on everything for us. Here to tell us what we can expect this afternoon. When are we thinking we're going to see some of this?
Well, we've seen some of it already, but it wasn't severe. There were some strong storms, though, embedded. We had some pea-sized hail. At this point, we're just dealing with some rain, a little bit of wind. That's about it. But it's going to pick up, I would say, later this afternoon and especially this evening. Taking a look at the Doppler behind me, here's where we're seeing some heavy rain at times. I've got the lightning spotter out there, no storms, but right over Bedford, we got some heavy downpours there. And also in that northeastern county or corner of Orange County, you can see just west of Campbellsburg, it is coming down. Cats and dogs there. And then we do have a couple of rumbles of thunder in the northeastern corner of the Jefferson County in southern Indiana. That is on its way out. We had that heavy downpour over Gallatin County. That was in Carroll County, and that's continuing to scoot out of the viewing area. A little bit further to the south, we have some heavy rain over Shelby County right now, over Bethlehem, but no lightning in this one. It's just very, very heavy rain. This is part of a tropical system, so it is going to hold a lot of water. And we'll be seeing a lot of that later on today. All right, right now we are dry in the metro, partly sunny. We've got a wind out of the north at 14 miles per hour. Those dew points, though, it's still going to feel kind of sticky when you go outside just because of that high humidity. And again, those tropical systems, they got a lot of moisture with it, so it's going to feel a little humid at times. Look at some of these numbers, too, where you haven't had any rain yet in Campbellsville. It's 86, 87 in Bardstown, 85 in E-Town. The reason we have 82 is because the airport got some rain, so we've got rain-cooled air there. Same deal in Paoli at 73. We're in the upper 70s in Seymour. Madison, you're getting all of that rain right now, so you're at 70. In the next 12 hours, though, we're going to recover into the low 90s, and it's going to feel very sticky. By 3 o'clock, we're also going to start watching for some of those storms to develop, and likely the stronger storms are going to be later this evening, which is dangerous because it's dark out. You can't even see the storms, and you're likely in bed, so you don't have those, that you're not by the television set to watch for the warnings. But we do have the severe alert day. Enhanced threat, that's in the orange, and that could bring the chance for some isolated tornadoes. We're going to time out the arrival of these stronger storms coming up in our next check of weather, and also talk about some quieter weather heading our way. Jennifer, Shaq?
All right, thanks for that, Mo.
Black garlic. Making you hungry.
Yeah, it is. My favorite was the calamari, though.
Yeah, it is good.
Plant-based seafood, too. I wonder how they did that.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. I got an interesting forecast behind me, actually. This is the post-tropical cyclone Beryl. It used to be a hurricane. It's really weakened quite a bit, and it's continuing to make its push up north towards us. And we're going to be watching for some stronger storms associated with the remnants of Beryl later on this afternoon and evening. Right now, doesn't look look too bad. We did have some thunderstorms roll through, and that dropped our temperatures here in Louisville and especially in our southern communities. But things are drying out. We're going to start warming back up. We're priming that atmosphere for all of the energy associated with Beryl. In our 12-hour forecast, we're currently at 82. Feeling a little warmer than that because of the humidity, but we're headed for the low 90s this afternoon. That's also around 4 o'clock. We're going to be watching for some storms to develop as the remnants gets closer and closer. Now, right now, we got those outer bands that have reached us, but as we get closer to the center of that storm, it has a little bit more twisting and turning, and that will likely hit closer to sunset and before midnight. So weather aware when it is dark, and that's when it's very dangerous for us to have severe storms. So keep that in mind. The severe storms, those are possible once that sun goes down. We got an overnight low around 70. Here's the forecast radar. Here's what we're thinking how this is all going to shake out. So we're going to start seeing more and more storm activity the later we get into the afternoon. This continues to move through the region as we get closer to sunset. And at this point, can't really pinpoint exactly where we're going to see the strongest of the storms, but there will be bands trying to move through as we get later in the evening. Take a look at this. This is right around 10:30, right down the center, I-65. This continues to push off after midnight, and things start to really quiet down once we get past that midnight hour. It will be a, well, rambunctious night, to say the least. So our severe weather threat, it's enhanced for most of the viewing area. Between 3 p.m. and midnight, that's when we're going to be watching for the strongest of the storms. Isolated tornadoes, that's on the table. Very strong wind gusts as well. So if you don't have the WLKY app, and I keep saying it over and over, get it on your phone. It's good to have, especially late at night when you're away from your television set. We can at least notify you if there's any warnings. Right now, or at least for tomorrow, things are quieting down. We're going to say goodbye to the rain. 84 on Wednesday, so much cooler. It'll be breezy at times. Thursday, we got a chance for a few showers and getting closer to normal. Friday, we're dry, heating up 90, 93 on Saturday. Then we'll watch for some summer-like storms on Sunday afternoon with a high of 93. We're drier on Monday and Tuesday, but we are going to be sweating at 95 and 97. Ooh. It's not one thing, it's another, right?
Yeah, you can feel that forecast.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. Well, at least today, we're going to take care of you, okay?
Summertime in the Ohio Valley.
Yep.
Thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.
Here at WLKY, and we do have some severe weather now starting to break out in portions of the viewing area. The metro is just fine for right now. Matter of fact, much of the viewing area is fine, but you look on the far bottom portion of your TV set, computer screen, whatever the case may be, you can see we have that red flashing box. That is a tornado warning that has been issued for the region, and this goes for the next several minutes. This includes Adair County now, off to the south of the metro until, this warning goes until 2:45 Central Time, 3:45 Eastern Time. This storm has been actually intensifying over the past several minutes, and you can see how far south of the metro it actually is. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this for you. It's just now starting to clip into far southern portions of Adair County. It's moving off towards the northeast, as you can see by this red flashing box. That's the warned area. It's moving off to the northeast at speeds of around 25 miles per hour. Again, this storm has been rotating. That rotation, it strengthens, it weakens, it strengthens, and this is what we're going to be dealing with the rest of the afternoon on into the evening. Right now, you can see some of this brighter green next to a little bit of darker red right there. That implies the cyclonic rotation. That's the velocity couplet. It is still south of the viewing area, at least the tornado potential is at this point in the game, but it will soon be lifting into, let's say, southeastern portions of Adair County and then head towards Russell Springs if it holds together as it tracks off towards the northeast. So as we go ahead and track the most dangerous part of this cell, which is that couplet right there, moving off to the northeast at speeds of around 25 miles an hour, you can see places like Cundiff, 3:34 Eastern Time, Glens Fork around 3:41. Some of that rotation could be close to you. Now again, Other tornado warnings have already been issued for this particular cell south of the viewing area as this thing came out of Tennessee. So far, it has not produced. We have not had any official tornado touchdowns. We've seen a wall cloud associated with this thing, and that implies there's some decent rotation going on. But so far, that rotation has not come down to the ground. But if you're here in our far, far southern communities, most notably from near Columbia, which you are in the warning, you're in that flashing red box, and points east and also south, again, get to that tornado warning shelter area and stay there until the danger has passed. Other storms are going to be breaking out throughout the course of the late afternoon and also the evening, and this includes the rest of the viewing area. Here in the metro southern Indiana, we are certainly not out of the woods. This thing is just starting to rev up. These storms are just now starting to fire up in that hot, muggy air. And as the remnants of Beryl, the wind energy, starts interacting with these developing storms, that's what we're concerned about. That'll get those storms rotating. When you have a rotating storm, you can have severe weather. It can be hail, high wind. In this case, we could see tornado spin-ups as the atmosphere is conducive to that development as the day wears on. So again, tornado safety. Best spot to be, basement, below ground. If you don't have that capability, lowest level of your house, an interior room, put as many walls between you and the outside where there could be some flying debris. By all means, avoid windows. Get underneath something sturdy. Maybe it's a sturdy workbench. And that'll help from encountering any falling debris. And if you have time, get out of those mobile homes. They are no match for tornadic winds. If that storm is still away from your area and you have time to evacuate, you got to get out. Go to a place of safety. Maybe it's a gas station, maybe it's a restaurant, maybe it's a friend's or a family's house. That's what you want to do, again, if you're in a mobile home. Let's go back to the radar scan now, see what's going on. I'm going to pull out and take a look at all of the viewing area, and what we'll do, we'll actually put the reflectivity field back on for you, and you can see the rest of the region as to what's going on. Let me clear that box. Okay, there's the metro, and you can see not much happening around the metro. A couple of scattered storms are trying to fire up west on the Ohio River and just west of Brandenburg. That's the Perry-Breckinridge County line. We'll watch for those. That storm was rotating a little bit. And this is out near the Derby area, the Magnet area here of southern Indiana, far northern portions of Breckinridge County. We'll watch that storm. It's tracking off to the north, not severe at this point in time. Additional scattered storms are indeed, though, firing up here in west and southwestern Kentucky. And near Hopkinsville, west of Bowling Green, these are going to be intensifying over the next couple of hours, and I really think that we could see a couple of bands of strong to severe storms move through even the metro area as we move into the late afternoon and also the evening hours. I think once we move beyond midnight or so, we will be done with this severe threat. But until that time, we're going to be dealing with scattered storms. I don't know. I don't think everybody is going to get a severe storm as they're going to be scattered in nature. But we can't put down our guard because the entire viewing area has that threat for some scattered strong activity with the remnants of Beryl moving on through. So nothing impacting the metro as of yet. It looks like it'll stay quiet in and close to the metro area, at least for the next hour, maybe two. Then we'll start to see additional storms approach from the south and also the southwest. Southern portions of Indiana, a couple of scattered showers, but nothing that is all that imminent at this point in the game as far as the severe threat goes. That too will likely change as the remnants of Beryl drift into the region. Everything right now is off to the south. This one lone isolated thunderstorm that is rotating, and we have the tornado warning that continues for southeastern Adair County. That goes until 3:45 Eastern Daylight Time. If you're around Columbia, and especially southeast of Columbia, here in east and southeast Adair County, get to your place of safety and stay there until the danger has passed on by. It's a fairly strong storm. It is rotating decently. And again, there's quite a bit of wind energy now reaching into southern portions of Kentucky. So it really wouldn't take much for something to spin up in this isolated storm as far as tornadic activity goes as it moves off to the east and also the northeast. Some rain now reaching the Cumberland Parkway, the Columbia area. Heavy rain, thunder, and lightning on through southern portions of Adair County. And again, as far as a hail threat goes, as we take a look at other hazards, yeah, we do have that threat for some hail as well with this particular supercell that has blossomed here in southern Kentucky. So we have that potential tornado. Nothing on the ground yet. We're making calls to law enforcement or storm spotters, but so far we haven't had anything confirmed touching down. Hopefully we can keep that trend going, but still, this is a powerful storm that is indeed really spinning up, moving off to the northeast across our far southern communities, and will continue to affect mainly southern portions of Adair County here the next several minutes, with that possibility of some hail. And of course, as I mentioned, we still have a little bit of rotation going on in this thing as well. If you look real close, see that brighter shade of green? Those are winds blowing towards the top portion of your TV set. Red, the opposite direction right there. So the velocity couplet, or the cyclonic rotation, is still immediately south of Adair County, but it is indeed moving off towards the northeast. So again, if you're south of Columbia here in south and eastern Adair County, be on the lookout. This is a pretty strong storm. It's a powerful storm capable of producing some severe weather. And keep in mind, when you have a velocity couplet like I'm showing right there, you can get a tornado, certainly, and it's warned for a possible tornado, but you can also get a damaging wind gust and also some large hail. And this storm at least has that potential to produce those hazards as it moves across southern Adair County here in relatively short order. Folks, that's really the only big thunderstorm we have right now in the WLKY viewing area. Additional storms, again, continue to fire up the farther west you go. But as far as what's going on around the metro right now, yeah, we have partly to mostly cloudy skies, but I'll tell you what, we have the fuel for thunderstorms. You walk outside, it is hot and it is humid. We are 90 degrees. Look at the feel-like temperature coming in at 97 because of that dew point. Very, very tropical. 72. That humidity 56%, and not much of a cooling breeze at all. East-southeast winds around 6 miles per hour. So again, not much happening around the metro, but all the action is indeed starting to fire up in southern Kentucky and western Kentucky, and this is all lifting off towards the northeast, fairly slowly actually at 25 to 30 miles an hour, and that trend will likely continue as we move into the late afternoon and also the evening hours. Again, you can see one thunderstorm out here on the Ohio River. That's Perry County, Breckinridge County, Meade County. This storm was rotating a little bit over the past 15-20 minutes or so. Really not showing signs of intensifying to tornadic limits, so let's hope that trend continues. But you can certainly see some heavy rainfall here on the Ohio River just east of Leopold. Eastern portions of Perry County, and this is going to lift into Crawford County and probably northwestern Meade County in relatively short order. And that's another hazard we're going to have to watch for as we move through the afternoon and the evening. Torrential downpours. The atmosphere is full of moisture. This is a tropical air mass. They had 10, 11, 12 inches of rainfall down in the Houston area yesterday when Beryl moved ashore, and it didn't take long to accumulate that. So it just goes to show you how much moisture we are looking at, that some of these thunderstorms could squeeze out. It wouldn't be uncommon to get a quick inch of rainfall in 30 minutes or less as these storms work across any one location. Again, that storm not severe at this point in time. Let me do a little bit of analysis here for you. You can see maybe a little bit of rotation trying to show up. This is northern Breckinridge, this is Perry, this is Meade. So maybe a little bit of weak rotation, but nothing that screams tornado or high damaging wind gusts at this point in time. And that storm is again moving off towards the north and also the northeast at speeds of around 25 miles per hour. Closer to town, another downpour is starting to form east of Brandenburg here in southern portions of Harrison County. This is right around Laconia and also the New Boston area. This will track its way off to the north, may clip portions of Valley Station, PRP, perhaps Rubbertown as well on the far west end over the next half hour to an hour, especially if it blossoms. We'll watch it because these things are just now starting to develop. And as they develop into that wind energy that Beryl is supporting and bringing into the area, that's what could trigger some severe weather as we move deeper into the afternoon hours. The rest of the metro looking pretty good at this point in time. And as we pull out and even more so, take a look at the entire viewing area, a scattering of showers, southern Indiana. Other thunderstorms are indeed developing here in western Kentucky, west of Bowling Green, down to near Nashville. And I really think as the energy from Beryl, as it comes out, this is going to turn out right here, these developing storms, to likely be the main batch of severe weather as these track off towards the northeast as we move into the late afternoon and also the evening hours. Those are the storms that will likely produce isolated tornadoes, perhaps some large hail with the real intense updrafts and very, very heavy rainfall as well. And lots of lightning and thunder as well. The atmosphere is just full of juice late on this Tuesday afternoon. So again, let's go back to areas down to the south where we still have the tornado warning. Looks like another warning was just issued well off to the southwest of the viewing area. As I was just talking about that storm in Perry County lifting up towards Crawford County, showing a little bit of rotation. National Weather Service is now agreeing there. They have issued a severe thunderstorm warning for that cell. So we'll go back to that cell in just a second. But first off, let me push in on the tornado warned storm off towards the south and southeast of the metro. This tornado warning continues for basically eastern Adair County for the next several minutes, for about the next 20 minutes or so. And this includes the Columbia area, but especially off to the east and south of you. I think the area that could see a potential tornado spin up would be south of the Cumberland Parkway in southern Adair County. That warning, that tornado warning, goes until 3:45 Eastern Daylight Time as this storm is tracking off towards the northeast at speeds of around 20-25 miles per hour. As far as the velocity is concerned, yeah, I mean, it's quite hard to see and it is rather broad. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you down a little bit closer to the actual rotation here. And it is, let me get that guy. We'll close in on that for you. All right, if you look real close, you can see this bright shade of green next to the darker green. That still implies that cyclonic rotation. This is now in southern Adair County, immediately off to the west of the Cundiff area. So again, watching from Cundiff, watching from Columbia, and all points in between in southern and eastern Adair County. Get to your basement and stay there until the danger has moved on through or this warning has either expired or been canceled. It's very weak in nature, the rotation is, and so far from what I've seen, these storms have not produced. They have not produced tornadoes or even funnel clouds. We've had reports of a wall cloud, which is a lowering of the cloud base, and that implies some rotation up in the clouds. But so far, no tornadoes in the viewing area, and hopefully we can keep that trend going. But to be safe, we want to make sure that you're in your tornado warning shelter area here in east and southern portions of Adair County until 3:45 at least, or until this warning expires or has been canceled, if it is canceled a little bit early. All right, let's go a little bit farther off to the north. We'll put the reflectivity or the rain pattern back on, and we'll zoom in on the severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued by the National Weather Service. It's for this cell holding here in eastern Perry County. This is now lifting into portions of southern Crawford County and far west northwestern Meade County. So watching from Andyville, watching from areas south of Leavenworth right now. We'll call it the Alton area, the Magnet area, just east of Leopold here. Small sliver of northern Breckenridge County near Union Star. be on the lookout. A chance for some strong winds, torrential downpours, and maybe a little bit of hail. I don't think I see any hail in that storm right now anyway. I think this could be more of a wind producer. Yeah, this thing is not producing any hail at this point in time, but certainly a chance for some strong gusty winds as it moves off towards the north and also the northeast. Again, at speeds of around 20 to 25 miles per hour. Additional showers are developing, as I talked about there, southeastern portions of Harrison County. We'll watch those close. We also have additional scattered storms off to the west and also the southwest of the viewing area. Those are just now starting to get going, if you will, as Beryl interacts with all this hot and muggy air. So these storms will continue to grow upscale. There's no question about it. The rest of the afternoon on into this Tuesday evening, and I do think we'll see more warnings being issued. Matter of fact, a tornado watch has been issued for the entire viewing area, and that simply means conditions are now favorable for strong to severe storms, and some of those storms could produce tornadoes and high winds. That's what we're dealing with across just about the entire viewing area, and that's going to carry us well into the evening as well. It's not the viewing area, but you can see that line I talked about that was down near Hopkinsville here in western portions of Kentucky. We are starting to see additional tornado warnings issued with those cells as they move off towards the northeast. So it won't take too much longer to see potentially severe weather moving into our far west and southwestern communities. Places like Grayson County, Breckenridge County, Hancock County, Perry County, Indiana, and points off to the west and southwest of there. And all that activity, by the way, will eventually reach the metro. We are not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination here in town. Just know the deeper we go into the afternoon, and especially this evening, I think the storm chance is really going to max out. The severe storm chance is really going to max out for the metro as we move deeper into the evening. It looks like our window here in metro anywhere from 7 to 11 o'clock tonight. That's when the severe threat will be maxed out for the metro area. All right, as we go back to the entire viewing area, just a couple of warnings. The severe thunderstorm warning off to the west of town for the potential for some pretty strong wind. And moving west of Brandenburg, this is going to lift into Crawford County, potentially northwestern Meade County in relatively short order. And we also have the tornado warning storm down here in east and south portions of Adair County. Although that rotation has weakened quite a bit, that warning is still in effect. So we want to tell you folks, if you're down in this region, especially south of the Cumberland Parkway in Adair County, stay in that warning area. Stay in that basement. No basement. An interior room, lowest layer of your house. Put as many walls between you and the outside just to help stop any debris that could be flying around. And that storm, again, will continue to lift its way off towards the northeast at speeds of around 20, 25 miles per hour. We'll zoom in again down there. There's the Cumberland Parkway, there's Columbia, there's Gundiff right there. And as we go ahead and paint on some of the wind velocity here for you, yeah, that wind field is very, very broad right now. I'm not seeing anything that screams tornado, but nonetheless, it is a rotating thunderstorm. And with the environment we have, with the remnants of Beryl moving back into the region, we have to be on the lookout for a quick tornado spin-up. That's what I think we're going to be dealing with as we move into the late day and the evening hours. Just quick hitting tornado spin-ups that could be really in many parts of the viewing area. We are maxed out as far as that threat goes across southern Indiana, through Louisville, down to near the parkways late this afternoon on into the evening hours. As far as the metro goes, no, we're looking in pretty good shape right now. Matter of fact, outside, we've got partly sunny skies. Clouds are thickening up here just a little bit. See the darkening skies way out there on the right-hand portion of your TV set. That's that storm that's holding in southeastern portions of Harrison County, and that other severe storm that's in far eastern Perry County, Indiana. But nothing threatening the metro just yet. Nothing but a lot of heat and humidity with that temperature, 90 degrees, that feel like has been flirting with the upper 90s to even near 100 from time to time. So we have plenty of moisture to work with, plenty of instability to work with for thunderstorms to get popping, and I think that'll be the general trend as we move into and through the late afternoon and also the evening hours. There's an additional tornado warning, not for the viewing area, but it is off towards the south and also the southwest of the region right now, and I think as that energy lifts off towards the northeast, it could be impacting the WLKY viewing area probably within the next 1 to 2 hours. I think we'll see an uptick in these strong and severe storms as they move across any one location. Again, heavy rainfall, southeastern Harrison County. You can see more heavy rainfall, potential strong wind gust holding here just west of Brandenburg. Just off to the east of Leopold. That heavy rain is now lifting into places like southern Crawford County. This thing also is showing signs of rotating just a little bit anyway. You can see the green next to the red, so we do have a little bit of rotation. We'll watch this storm very closely as it continues to lift off to the northeast, but so far that rotation is pretty weak and pretty broad. So we'll watch it as it moves into our west and southwestern communities here in the not so distant future. Around the metro, though, we are looking in fine shape right now as far as a storm threat goes. Not much happening. We do have that heavy rain shield that's holding just west of Valley Station, west of PRP. That shower, too, working off to the north. So far, though, not really showing signs of development all that much, and we hope that trend will certainly continue for the next several minutes. I'm going to step out of the screen here, look at some of the chat rooms, see what's going on with National Weather Service, if we have any reports coming in with the storm down south in Adair County, or the one that's actually off to the west in portions of Crawford County, Meade County, and also in eastern Perry County. It looks like they maybe end up canceling the tornado warning for Adair County because they're seeing what I'm seeing. There's just not a lot of rotation in that thing right now. The storm has weakened quite a bit. The hail core is not quite as bright as it once was. It looks like they are going to let this warning either expire, they're going to cancel it altogether, the tornado warning off towards the south. So folks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to regroup. Again, if you're here in Adair County, know that this storm is weakening. Okay, we have the tornado warning that continues for about the next 9 minutes, but the National Weather Service is seeing what I'm seeing is that it's not producing a tornado right now. The wind field is weakening, the hail core is weakening. Overall, this storm is starting to fall apart somewhat there in southern portions of Adair County as it lifts off to the northeast. So if you're here in southern Adair County, just stay in your basement. But again, I think that the tornado threat is really starting to drop off. And again, NWS is thinking about dropping that warning altogether. Here in northwestern Meade County, eastern Perry County, southern Crawford County, we do have a storm that is rotating a little bit, capable of producing a gusty wind, if you will, upwards of 50 to 60 miles per hour in isolated locations as it too slowly lifts off towards the north and also the northeast. So we'll certainly keep you posted, no question about it. I am going to be breaking into programming from time to time the rest of the afternoon, and especially as we move into the evening. We'll have our entire weather team here as well, as they will be coming in to lend a hand. So we've got you covered right here on WLKY. And don't forget, away from your TV set, WLKY.com. Check that out and be sure and download the WLKY app. Has a ton of great information, including all that pertinent weather information right there at your fingertips. Nothing around the metro right now as far as severe weather goes. Severe thunderstorm warning off to the west, tornado warning, which is a dying thunderstorm. It's that warning will either be canceled in relatively short order or it'll be expired altogether as that storm is not producing. And then we have additional warned storms, a tornado warning that's off to the west of Bowling Green, not in the WLKY viewing area, but we'll keep an eye on those storms as they track off towards the northeast over the next, say, 30 to 60 minutes. Please keep in mind, tornado watch is in effect, and that simply means conditions are favorable for strong to severe storms, including isolated tornado spin-ups. That watch is in effect for the rest of the afternoon on into and through much of the evening as well. I'll keep you posted right here at WLKY. Let's get you back to programming, and we will certainly monitor these storms as they can. Fact for this particular area. Now here's Litchfield. So the warned storm for a possible tornado is just north and west of you, okay? And it looks like it's going to stay just off to your north. But if you are in northern Grayson County, if you're up towards Hardin Springs, if you're up towards the Madrid area, Cobbler's Knob, you've got to be in that tornado warning shelter area. Best spot to be the basement. Be below ground just to make sure. If you don't have a basement, lowest level of your house, an interior room, make sure you put as many walls between you and the outside to help slow down any debris that could be flying around out there. And be on the lookout for strong gusty winds as well and torrential downpours. Here we are in 3D mode, and you can see some of those storm tops reaching up into the atmosphere 30, 40,000 feet or so. So some decent storm tops, some strong updrafts. We look at this product here to give us an idea of how strong these things are as far as the updraft goes of the storm. The stronger the updraft, the more intense the thunderstorm, and the greater the potential for severe weather. And sure enough, we're starting to see that with a pair of supercells and a couple of tornado warnings in effect for our southwestern communities for the next several minutes. So it's getting active now with this first batch of strong to severe storms moving on into our southwestern communities. Having said that, hey, a quick look outside right now. Let's go to the tower cam again, guys. Shane, if you can hear me up in the booth, let's go to the tower cam, see what's happening there. The metro is looking just fine. We have partly to mostly sunny skies. There you go. But the clouds are starting to build more so. I think it's going to stay relatively quiet in and around the metro for the next several minutes, but things should be changing after that.
We'll have to see how things develop, of course, in the metro over the next, like, I would say hour or so. We'll most likely be seeing some of those storms getting a little bit closer to the metro. That being said, we are getting some reports into the newsroom of some storm chasers seeing some rotation, what they think might be funnel clouds that are lifting up into the atmosphere, coming down, and then lifting back down to the ground. So that's north of Caneyville. And Jay, that was the storm that we were tracking before there was that warning on it.
Okay.
So we are getting some reports in.
And that other warning has also been discontinued. That's been canceled. So let's go back to the radar if we could, and let's go back down into our southwestern communities. So the east, or should say the western warning, that has been canceled. But this storm, this supercell, is now starting to take over. And Suzanne, this is the storm you were talking about that the storm spotters were starting to see some tornadic activity?
Yes, north of Caneyville. So that would be this one where we've been getting a lock with some of that rotation as well. It doesn't look quite as strong right now, but sometimes, as you know, these storms can cycle. Yeah. And so that's something that obviously we'll watch closely. I'm going to take off that velocity marker right there and just kind of give you some perspective here. So this is right near Hanging Rock, right near 259. This is north of Litchfield. This is north of Clarkson here at this time. So this is right near Everly, Cobbler's Knob. In this area, this is where you're going to need to be in your place of safety. All right, and stay there. Very, very important until this storm has bypassed you, moved on through. Again, keep in mind this is a tropical air mass. These tornado warnings are actually being caused by the remnants of what was Hurricane Beryl, now moving into the lower Ohio Valley. A lot of times these are quick-hitting storms, quick-hitting tornadoes. They come up, they go down. They come up, they go down. And that pattern will likely continue as we move deeper into this Tuesday evening. Putting a track on this for you, the storm moving off in a northeasterly direction. We're talking the Fisher area, 504.
Hanging Rock 505 down towards Hardin Springs, Hudson, and the Lymph region, 515 to 520. If I called out your community, stay in that basement. If you live in those communities or around those communities, that storm is indeed moving in your direction. And it may already be raining, I get that, in the communities I called out. We're tracking the most dangerous part of the storm, i.e., the potential tornado, okay? And it's moving off in a northeasterly direction. So we have a little bit of an inflow right there and a little bit of what we could be seeing, a hook. We've got a low-level lock, a velocity lock on the radar, and this is the shear product right there. You can see the brighter greens now showing up on the Breckenridge-Grayson County line there, moving off in a northeasterly direction. So some decent rotation certainly in this particular cell where we have had reports of possible funnel clouds pushing down from the sky, then heading back up. So this thing is trying to produce a tornado. This is a dangerous storm moving off in the moving off to the northeast. Slowly too, Suzanne.
Yeah, it's not moving all that quickly. It's moving at about 30 to maybe 35 miles per hour. So again, this is right into the Hanging Rock area. This is going to be near Solway soon, Hardin Springs, Pierce Mill, if this all holds together. And sometimes we can have a situation where these storms kind of cycle through. So again, we're going to be watching for that. If you were in the metro with us, we are currently dry, we are quiet, but we're watching a tornado warning that is off to the south and to the west of the metro. So we'll have to see how everything evolves, but I suspect we'll most likely be seeing some more thunderstorms continue to develop as we make our way throughout our evening hours.
Okay, sounds good. Again, it's quiet around town, but keep in mind the tornado watch goes until midnight tonight. Things are relatively quiet across southern portions of Indiana. A couple of isolated showers, rumbles of thunder from western and northwestern Clark County up to near Salem right now. Non-severe variety, but we're watching them close because they can spin up rather rapidly. And then we've got a pair of supercells down here in Breckenridge County, Grayson County, all pushing off to the northeast. One of the supercells, the middle one, if you will, is warned for a tornado warning. And this is for central, north central Grayson County, eastern Breckenridge County, western portions of Hardin County. This does not include you folks in E-Town, but we're going to watch this storm very, very closely as it continues to move in a northeasterly direction. So, yeah, still picking up chaotic winds throughout this entire storm cluster. Some rotation and some strong, gusty, what appears to be straight line wind.
It's an unusual situation for us. We don't typically see tropical systems coming our way, so it is something that looks a little different than what we normally see. Certainly, it is not one of those enormous storms, huge tornadoes or anything like that. We're talking about a number of different storms. Each one is rotating, and perhaps potentially one or two of them could bring us a tornado. We did get some reports of some funnel clouds north of Caneyville from a storm spotter. We always appreciate your sending in your reports. It is so incredibly helpful, especially in areas that are a little bit more rural, Jay. It's a little bit more difficult. When storms move over a highly populated area, it is easier to get those storm reports. But we have gotten some reports into the newsroom of a funnel cloud, possibly a tornado, kind of coming down and lifting back up.
Okay, there's another storm. Now, it's not in the viewing area, Suzanne, but it's immediately off to the southwest. It's back in Ohio County. This one's really starting to catch my eye right there near Beaver Dam. That's Ohio County, and this, too, is starting to show signs of wrapping up. Why do I talk about that? Well, guess what? It's moving off to the northeast and could, if it holds together and strengthens, move into Breckenridge County down the road. So just want to point that out. Many of these cells are just now starting to develop, just starting to strengthen, especially along and west of the I-65 corridor as everything churns its way to the northeast. In town right now, skies are growing a little bit darker. The cumulus clouds are becoming a little bit more prevalent, which means we're starting to see more lift in the atmosphere. It's still quiet around town, but that'll likely be changing here over the next couple of hours as these scattered storms lift up from the southwest, or we see additional development as well. This is from on top of the Yum Center as we're looking north into southern Indiana. And again, some of those cells up in sections of Clark County and Washington County billowing up as far as the clouds go. And finally, live look from the tower cam right here on Melwood Avenue back towards Downtown Louisville, the silhouette of the buildings, and you can see the partly sunny skies in the distance. One thing is for sure, it's hot. It's humid out there. We're close to 90. Heat indices have been in the upper 90s, so plenty of fuel. We're 93 right now. Look at the feel like 100 with that dew point, very tropical, 72 degrees. It feels quite nasty as you walk outside. Well, that's all that fuel, all that instability that's now gradually turning into thunderstorm development. And we think these scattered storms will become more numerous and move into much of the viewing area as the late afternoon and early evening hours wear on. I mean, Suzanne, this could be a pretty long night, unfortunately. So
yeah,
can't put down our guard, even though it's very quiet around the metro right now. It's quiet around E-Town, Bardstown, up to near Scottsburg and Paoli. That could change and change quite rapidly as we move into this Tuesday evening.
It's certainly one of those situations where we want you to stay weather aware throughout the entire night. And Jay, you can see, let me go ahead and put the movement on there because I'm going to take the warnings off and put the movement of all of these storms to give you some perspective. If you're in the greater Louisville area, you're saying it is just hot and sunny out here. Not much is going on. If you're farther down to the south, you're seeing all those storms. So Jay, as far as what people can expect for this evening, if you're in the metro, if you're in southern Indiana, what are you suggesting everyone does tonight?
Bottom line, you got to stay weather aware as we move deeper into the evening. I think the window for severe weather here in the metro is going to be more like 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock, and we could see a couple of waves of these supercellular storms move on through. Does that mean we're going to see tornadoes here in town? It is possible. The atmosphere is conducive. You just have to be ready to go to your tornado warning shelter area if a warning is issued for the metro or any other part of the WLKY viewing area. Know where to go before the storms strike. It's so important to be prepared. The main energy from Beryl is still out here near the confluence of the Ohio and Mississippi River. That cloud cover, that's all that stratiform rain, that real heavy rainfall that we'd like to see over us because it's not severe and it just gives you an inch or two of real nice rain. Well, that's not going to get here. We're on the eastern flank of this dying tropical system, and that's a favored area for severe weather. Matter of fact, yesterday in eastern Texas, as this same area was drifting up through eastern Texas, 45 tornado warnings were issued by the National Weather Service down there. That storm was extremely, extremely severe and energized in eastern Texas. Thank goodness the wind energy has weakened somewhat as it's moved farther off to the north, now moving into the Ohio Valley. But hey, there's still enough energy to produce scattered, strong to severe storms, some of which could produce tornadoes. All right, and this is the tornado warning that is in the WLKY viewing area. This is about 50 to 60 miles southwest of Louisville. This is Breckinridge County right here. This is Grayson County, and this is Hardin County. Here's the E-Town area, as you can see, the Western Kentucky Parkway, Litchfield, and off to the north of Litchfield, we have the tornado warned storm. Moving off to the northeast. Some broad rotation, but again, Suzanne, as you talked about, this is the storm that some of the spotters were picking up on potential funnels.
And I believe the National Weather Service is considering allowing the Breckinridge County storm to expire as that circulation does not look quite as tight as what it looked earlier. Certainly when we were sampling it, Jay, before they had the warning on it, we were picking up some of those winds of 85 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour, and showing a pretty decent rotation for at least a brief amount of time.
So you're saying that this one right here, they're thinking about canceling?
They're thinking about letting that expire and not extending it out. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they continue. It's got a ton of lightning in it as well, so maybe even some gusty winds, so they may extend it as a severe thunderstorm warning or something like that. But as far as what they're thinking is with that. And you can see, Jay, as you were mentioning before, that rotation is much broader than it was earlier.
Yeah.
It's not quite that tight. When you see bright pink right next to a bright green and they're right next to each other, that's usually when you have a tighter rotation.
Yeah, and you're probably saying, well, what's going on here, Jay? What's right here? Okay, let's go back to the reflectivity field. Let me try to explain this for you. And you can see this is the so-called hook echo right there. So the rotation that you would expect to see would be in this general area right here, okay? This is southern Breckinridge County, that's northern Grayson County. This is where you would expect to see a strong velocity couplet. So, Suzanne, let's go ahead and paint on now the velocity field and see what's going on there. And you don't see that. A little bit of dark green next to some red. The red are winds blowing towards the bottom portion of your TV set. Green, the opposite direction. So very weak rotation right here, but nothing that screams tornado. That's why National Weather Service is thinking, there may not be much here. We're going to see what happens over the next several minutes. Having said that, we're going to keep the warning in place. We want to keep everybody safe, but we may be canceling that warning early. And let's hope that trend continues. That's what we want to see after all. But this thing is producing incredible amounts of rain right now, from Madrid to Centerview to Hudson up towards the Mook area, Sayre area. I mean, just incredible rainfall, Suzanne.
Yeah, and we really haven't picked up much as far as any hail. This looks like it's wanting to put down some hail. I suspect in that warm atmosphere, a lot of that is melting before it's able to reach the ground. But Jay, you were mentioning some of the rainfall rates, potentially 2-inch-an-hour rainfall rates right into the Hudson area, right near Centerview, right near Hardin Springs, it looks like.
Yeah, in addition to, scattered pockets of potentially severe weather, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see folks dealing with a little bit of localized flash flooding, because these things tropical in nature and they're not moving all that fast. They're only moving at 20-25 miles per hour. So the rainfall rates are huge right now, and we're going to see some ponding and maybe some localized flooding as well. So very broad rotation in this particular storm. It is still rotating somewhat, but it doesn't scream tornado right now. The rotation wasn't what it was a few minutes ago. That's some great news, and let's hope that weakening trend continues as it's lifting off to the north. Other severe thunderstorm warnings are now being issued farther off to the west for new storms coming into western Kentucky. We were watching the storm there in the Beaver Dam area that was showing signs of rotation. Well, NWS has just gone with a severe thunderstorm warning on that one. Live look outside right now. Skies growing a little bit darker as we look back off to the south-southwest. The 2nd Street Bridge right here spanning the Ohio River, downtown Louisville. That shot, by the way, is from the Sheraton in Jeffersonville. And you can see those skies growing a little bit darker as those storms are lifting north from places like, again, Breckinridge County and also Grayson County. As we zoom back off towards a southeastern vantage point, there's the Kennedy and also the Lincoln, and you're looking into southeastern portions now of the metro, the east end, partly to mostly cloudy skies, but nothing that's screaming severe weather on our doorstep. Things are still fairly quiet around the metro as we scan the skies from that Sheraton camera, then look down the Ohio River, a western vantage point right now with a little bit of sunshine there in the distance. But again, don't put down your guard, gang. We have a tornado watch that continues until midnight tonight. Try to stay cool as it's a hot 93 right now, but I suspect scattered storms will shift across any one location as the evening hours wear on, and we will start to cool things off and also turn less humid, for that matter, very late tonight into and through tomorrow. Until that time, got to be on the lookout for scattered pockets of severe weather, including isolated tornadoes. And for that reason, the entire viewing area, Suzanne, underneath that tornado watch until midnight tonight.
And emergency management from Grayson County has been out looking at some of these storms where the storms were warned. As of right now, they have not found any damage. So that's some wonderful news. That being said, obviously, in a situation like this, we want you to stay prepared throughout the entire night. And of course, Jay is going to be tracking, Matt Milosevic is going to be in as well, tracking these storms as they continue to evolve and perhaps move a little bit closer into the metro. You can see as far as the movement of these storms, they are tracking off to the north and to the northeast. This entire storm system is going to be moving closer to the Louisville area. You can see some of those storms kind of knocking on the door of Meade County into portions of Hardin County, and certainly something that bears close watching throughout this evening, Jay.
Okay, Suzanne, thanks so very much. If you would, guys, up in the booth behind me, let's put the analyzer up. Suzanne, could you get a planner up for me? I believe it's in my show for the overnight period. We'll give folks an idea of what the forecast holds as we move through this Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. But here we go. We've got our dual product on here that shows the rainfall pattern on the left-hand portion of your screen. Same sector, but showing the wind pattern. So we can really get a good idea as to if hook echoes are co-located with the strong rotation. So really get a good idea as to what this storm may or may not be producing. Here's a tornado warned storm. Suzanne and I have been talking about this one, and it's right there. It looks like a little bit of a hook trying to form right there. Broad rotation as it is, but nonetheless still can't put down our guard. This is Hardin County, Breckenridge County, Grayson County, right on that tri-point where the counties come together. Looks to be where there's that little bit of a hook echo. Now, as we go over to the rotation or the radar or the velocity scan, and you can see, yeah, there's a little bit of broad rotation, and it is co-located with that hook echo. So again, storm is still rotating somewhat, and that's why the tornado warning remains for that particular storm.
And you have your planner up if you want to pull up links 1, Jay.
Okay, let's take a look at the forecast as we move into and through the evening, through the overnight. So here we go. We have the severe alert that's in effect right now. Again, scattered, strong to severe storms. They're happening now. That trend will continue. 8 o'clock tonight, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then around midnight or so, I think we'll see the strongest storms start moving out of the viewing area altogether, maybe even weakening just prior to that. As we move deeper into the night, we'll start to lose some of this instability. So we'll go from the severe alert to more impact type weather, and then after midnight, that'll be it. We'll be done. It will be mainly cloudy, but the humidity will be dropping off. And by the time we wake up in the morning, we'll have mostly cloudy skies and temperatures a little bit better, around 70 degrees. So basically, it's the first half of the night that we have to deal with. That's the period that we have deemed the severe alert. And we have to be on the lookout and be cognizant of that as these storms continue to form and move in an east and northeasterly direction. Warnings becoming a little bit more numerous now the farther west you go, and you can see the difference between, let's say, that tornado warning and this one. Notice the magenta color right there, and this is out of the viewing area, but that magenta color underneath the flashing red box, that signifies a tornado actually on the ground. All right, so we're starting to see some of these storms west of us, closer to Evansville, closer to Paducah, starting to actually produce. So that's a lot of energy out there, Suzanne. We're going to have to watch that very, very closely.
Yes, most definitely. And so that is the confirmed tornado outside the WLKY viewing area. But that is indicative of the storm system that we are currently watching that is going to be heading in our direction and continuing to overspread. They've decided to continue the warning across areas, it looks like, of Breckenridge County, of portions of Grayson County into portions of Hardin County, it looks like, Jay. So they've trimmed it back a little bit, but they are continuing this until 5:45 at this point for sections of Hardin County. So we'll watch that closely for you. So bottom line, we still have that tornado warning now in effect for portions of Hardin County until 5:45.
Okay, gang, so the next 25 minutes, we're going to stay here with you tracking this storm as the storms are now getting a little bit closer to the metro. Still nothing around town, but you can see just west of E-Town here, we have a pretty strong storm. And again, rotating strongly enough through enough depth of the storm that the National Weather Service is saying, yeah, we're going to hold on to this warning for a little while longer just to make sure. This is eastern Breckenridge County. Here's Hardinsburg right there, so it's east of you, but from near Rosetta down to Custer, the Dyer area, over towards Constantine as well as Hudson, and then down to near the Grayson, Breckenridge County line, on into western Hardin County, okay, Howe Valley and points west. That's the warned area. If you're in that warned area, please get to that tornado warning shelter area. You're probably already there. You should be, and stay there until the danger has passed, until this storm has either weakened, tornado warning has been canceled altogether or it has expired. But yeah, you can still see some of the wind energy, some of the shearing going on, especially some of the brighter greens showing up near Hardin Springs. That's just some of the twisting of the winds that we are seeing. That's Highway 84 coming out of Breckinridge County on into Hardin County near Hardin Springs. We've got a lot of wind energy right now. Maybe a strong damaging straight line wind gust also trying to form inside that particular cell as it moves off to the northeast. The potential is there. That's what you need to know for strong to severe storms the next several hours, really through the first half of this Tuesday night. Watching a storm north of Henryville. Heavy rainfall right now, not severe, but nonetheless, we are watching it closely because it's in an environment that is conducive to some strong and severe storms very close to Underwood right now. And sure enough, it is trying to rotate somewhat. Green are winds blowing towards the bottom portion of your TV set, and red the opposite direction. And there's just a little bit of very weak rotation in that storm, but we'll continue to monitor it as it lifts on into Scott County here in the next several minutes or so.
Yeah, and the only warning we currently have for the WLKY viewing area is that one that does include sections of Hardin County back across the areas of Howe Valley, right near Hudson, near Limp, Custer. That's where we're seeing this stronger storm. And Jay was pointing out, when we take a look at kind of sampling that storm, the strongest rotation that we seem to be picking up is right into the Hardin Springs area. So this would be right along Highway 84 near Limp Road, near Sonora Hardin Springs Road. So that would be an area that we want you to be especially careful in, and that's where we're picking up a little bit of that rotation that's showing up at this point, Jay, right into that Hudson area near Hudson Springs, just outside Pierce Mill.
Yeah, pretty close to the Breckinridge Hardin County line right now is where the best rotation is, and again, that's carrying its way off to the northeast. Pretty broad right now, but this is the same storm Suzanne was talking about, that some of the spotters out there were actually viewing potential funnel clouds as it was back in southwestern Grayson County. So still a very strong thunderstorm, an intense thunderstorm, a severe thunderstorm that we will continue to track as it moves slowly off to the northeast at speeds of around 20 miles an hour. And Suzanne, that's one thing I've noticed. This thing is moving pretty slow on this Tuesday late afternoon, so there's going to be a lot of rainfall where that rainfall rate is really quite high right now. Tracking the potential hook, okay? This is the most dangerous part of the cell. We're talking Pierce Mill, 531, Constantine 532, the Vertrees area around 543, and Howe Valley around 547. That's when it will be close to you anyway. So if I called out your community or you live around those communities, again, that's when potentially that hook echo could be coming close to your area. Stay in that basement, in other words, or that tornado warned shelter that is. Pretty strong storm, Suzanne.
Yeah, and it's starting to move into perhaps a slightly more populated area, so we'll have to see if we're getting any storm reports, any reports of any funnel clouds. When this storm was a little bit farther off to the south and to the west, we were getting some reports of some funnel clouds being reported into the Grayson County area, so it's not clear if we haven't had any damage reports at this point. And emergency management has had fire departments kind of out looking around for damage from Grayson County. Obviously, this is moving into Hardin County, Breckinridge County, so it certainly bears close watching.
Okay, so let's come back to the metro. Let's go outside, take a live look as to see what's going on around town. Our 12-hour forecast, yeah, it's going to stay very warm and muggy despite those clouds really thickening up on the southern horizon. That look from the Sheraton in Jeffersonville, looking back off to the south over downtown Louisville. And again, those are some of the storms out there on the southern horizon now building across Breckinridge County, Hardin County, and just north of you folks now in Litchfield, moving off to the northeast. These are actually moving towards Louisville. Again, hopefully they'll be weakening, but we'll be watching that scenario. Suzanne, where are we looking here?
This is 71, a little bit closer over to the Gene Snyder right there. This is from the Bluegrass Parkway here, and you can see it is a little bit on the breezy side there, taking a live look at a few other locations. Let's take you over to the Yum Center. You can see some of those clouds building up in height in that warm and very humid atmosphere at this point. And taking a live look here, you can see some of the darkening skies on the horizon here from our tower camera. That's the camera that we have that's right here. And then, of course, that Sheraton camera that shows that darkening sky. This is pointing, so this is in southern Indiana. This points across the Ohio River, obviously the 2nd Street Bridge, and just due south at this point. So you can see that darkening sky on the southern horizon. And Jay, you were mentioning, obviously we're in for kind of a long night here. We do have a tornado watch that does continue for us until midnight tonight. So we're just in that environment. You were mentioning we have a heat index value of 100 degrees right now in the metro. Actual air temperature is 93 degrees. We have a dew point of 72 degrees. It is warm, muggy, and very uncomfortable out there. But it's an environment that is conducive to strong to severe storms.
Yeah, no question about it. It is very, very tropical out there. The fuel you need for thunderstorms, and then you add wind energy, the remnants of Beryl, you get some of these storms rotating, then you can get some severe weather. So everything kind of coming together, if you will, here in southern Indiana, as well as the Commonwealth, for the potential for strong to severe storms. And that's why the tornado watch goes until midnight tonight. So again, nothing happening around the metro at this point in the game. That'll likely be changing as we move deeper into this Tuesday evening. At this time, we're 5:27 Tuesday afternoon. We are in our newscast right now, our 5 o'clock newscast. So we're going to continue to monitor these storms and track them. Still a tornado warning in effect here, eastern Breckinridge County, western Hardin County, west of you folks in E-Town. Here's the Louisville area, well south and southwest of the metro. But again, this cluster of storms moving in a northeasterly direction will have to watch the Irvington region, Radcliffe, potentially, maybe even up near Brandenburg over the next hour or so, half hour to an hour, as these things continue to lift north and also northeast. Additional storms, as you can see, coming out of Bowling Green, so they just keep developing in this very hot, humid air mass and lifting up to the north. So no doubt we have a pretty long evening to get through, with the chance anyway, the potential for strong and severe storms, some of which could produce some tornadoes or some gusty winds, and still seeing that little hook on the south flank of that storm, signifying that there is some rotation in that thunderstorm. And as we look in go in 3D mode, so to speak, some of the storm tops, well, upwards of 40,000 feet or so. So some decent updrafts still occurring with these storms as they head off to the north and also the northeast. Boy, the storms off to the west near the Wabash, and we were expecting that, are really starting to become quite numerous. I'm talking out here. Look at all those tornado warnings closer to the Evansville area, and that is some of the energy that will be working off in an easterly direction the next several hours. Metro is clear right now. Good to see, but things could be changing over the next 2, 3, or 4 hours, even for the metro. Additional scatter showers starting to go up, as you can see, in Oldham County, just north of LaGrange there, and south of Bethlehem. And we have near Underwood, Pigeon Roost Station, some heavier downpours ongoing. That's a little storm that seems to maybe be rotating, just looking at the appearance of it. And Suzanne, that storm in between Irvington and Hardinsburg, do you see that little kind of kidney bean? No, I don't really see anything. Do you see any rotation?
That little guy right there, right here. Yeah, well, let's go ahead and do a little sample there and take a look. And it doesn't look like much as far as rotations showing up there. Let's check out that shear, a little bit of a shear marker picking up right there, but not a ton. Really the best rotation, I hate to say best, but the clearest rotation, the strongest rotation is right here, Constantine, right near Pierce Mill. And this is the storm. Jay, we were tracking the storm before there was actually a warning on it back across areas of southern Grayson County. Then we were continuing to watch it evolve. So it's been spinning the whole time. What sometimes happens is you have storms, they have a pretty tight rotation, they may form a tornado, then they sort of dissipate a little bit, then they re-strengthen, so they kind of recycle, if you will. So that perhaps is what we're seeing here. But this has been, I think, probably the strongest rotation that we've picked up with this particular product so far this evening, Jay.
Yeah, that's some decent shear right there. Some dangerous twisting of the winds going on. It's not telling us there's a tornado, but it does tell us that the atmosphere is twisting and turning, especially in the low layers right now. And again, this is the Hardin and Breckinridge County line, and the rotation rotation again right here in this general area, with the green blowing up towards the top portion of your TV set, red the opposite direction. So you can see how elongated it is. There isn't a real strong, what we call gate-to-gate appearance, but it is still rotating. And in this environment, if that rotation tightens and does strengthen, it could produce. So that's why the tornado warning remains in effect for eastern Breckinridge County and western Hardin County. And this will take us until 5:45 Eastern Daylight Time or 4:45 Central Time. The track on this thing, on the most dangerous part of the storm, that is the potential hook, moving in an east-north, or I should say a north-northeasterly direction. Howe Valley could impact you around 5:42, Four Corners around 5:46, and then maybe Rineyville 5:56, and Vine Grove could get close to you if it maintains its intensity and strength right around 6 o'clock or so Eastern Daylight Time. And then after that, Suzanne, could be getting close to the metro in between 6 and 7 o'clock if it holds together.
And most certainly, and it doesn't have to be this particular storm that holds together. We have been seeing across areas of the Wabash Valley a little bit farther back out to the west, Jay. We have seen a number of tornado warnings issued, and in fact, unfortunately, confirmed tornadoes that have been reported across areas in the southern portions of the Wabash Valley. So that's just west of our area, and that would go in line with this tropical storm system, that kind of northeast quadrant where we see, generally speaking, the strongest storms, even after storms make landfall. Obviously, it's not a tropical storm anymore. It's an area of low pressure, but in that quadrant, perhaps still showing its hand of some of the stronger storms that we're now seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's providing the wind energy for these storms, the wind energy they need to turn severe, something we didn't want to see, but nonetheless, it is coming to fruition now here in the lower Ohio Valley in our viewing area late on this Tuesday afternoon and early evening. So we'll continue to track this supercell now near Custer, Dyer, Constantine, down to near Pierce Mill, and the rotating part of the storm, which is kind of hugging the Breckinridge Hardin County line as it moves off in a northeasterly direction. Let's kind of pull out. Let's reset. Let's take a look at the entire viewing area, see what's going on. Let's come up to the metro. Again, metro weather is still pretty quiet. Clouds are indeed increasing. Skies on the southwestern horizon looking a little more ominous, no doubt from those storms right there. We have additional isolated showers, rumbles of thunder trying to form. One that looks a little suspect right now, not severe, but we'll monitor it, we'll track it, we'll watch it closely. Moving into Scott County in Indiana, just south of Scottsburg. Another heavy downpour north of you folks in the LaGrange area, and finally a dying shower north of Salem near Kossuth, and moving up into southern portions of Jackson County. But you can see all these storms out here, southwestern Indiana through western Kentucky. These are becoming more and more numerous, and I think that trend as far as the buildup, the upscale growth of scattered storms, that will continue to push east as we move on into this Tuesday evening and approach the Interstate 65 corridor and obviously the metro the deeper we go into this Tuesday evening. Don't put down your guard, as the severe threat has arrived, and it's going to continue. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to increase somewhat even for the WLKY viewing area and the metro over the next several hours. There's a live look outside right now as we gaze the skies looking south from the Sheraton in Jeffersonville, adjacent to the Clark Memorial Bridge, spanning the Ohio there, downtown Louisville, and you can see those dark clouds in the distance from those storms moving through Breckinridge County as well as Hardin County. Suzanne, I'll let you take it.
Yeah.
Where are we looking? We're
taking a look at some of our Trimark traffic cameras for you just really quickly. And you can see it's a little bit breezy. This is from the Bluegrass Parkway. What I want to show you is 65 and the Bluegrass Parkway here. So this is into sections of Hardin County here. So again, that's 65 right near the Bluegrass Parkway. So this is just a little bit to the east of that storm system that we're seeing at this time. So you'll notice that it is certainly a darkening sky that that we're currently seeing at this time. And again, so this is a live look at 65 right at the Bluegrass Parkway here, and you can see kind of a threatening looking sky. We're actually waiting, Jay, we're processing some video at this time. We do have some reports of some of those funnel clouds from Grayson County that we were talking about earlier. So some videos being sent in, and we're going to, of course, get that on air to you as soon as possible. But that's that storm that we were talking about that we currently have the tornado warning for across areas, you'll notice, of Hardin County, back across portions of Breckenridge County. If it were to hold together, it would also be extended most likely into sections of Meade County.
Yeah, so bottom line, we do not want to put down our guard here if we are in south and southeastern Meade County, as Suzanne just alluded to. If we're in northern portions of Hardin County on into western Bullitt County, we're going to have to watch this zone as this storm lifts off towards the north. As for right now, we still have some very decent shear going on. In other words, twisting of the winds in the low layers of the atmosphere. Not saying it's tornadic. It could produce a tornado if the shear were to strengthen, but this could be a strong, damaging straight line wind gust on an isolated basis. And here we are zoomed in, street level mapping, and you can see that is the Breckenridge Hardin County line. There's Constantine Road. This is western Hardin County. There's Salt River Road, and you can see the Vertrees area. So we are zoomed in very, very tight. Could be a very strong wind gust, a little twisting and turning going on close to Vertrees, but just off towards the east, or I should say the west of there, Suzanne.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what we're watching here. That is the only decent rotation, I should say, that we're picking up at this point. If you're in the metro, you're saying it's hot and it's kind of sunny here. This is the storm that we're watching farther down to the south. This is the storm that we're watching because all of these storms are going to be pushing to the north-northeast. So that's why we don't want to let down our guard. Really, for anyone tonight, everyone has the opportunity of seeing strong to possibly severe storms. These storms have had a history of producing back out to the west a confirmed tornado. You can see that that's a little bit farther to the Evansville area where we've had that confirmed tornado. For our interest, we've not had any confirmation of damage or any confirmation of any tornadoes that have been spotted. But again, we're working to get you that video from sections of Grayson County, Jay.
Okay, Suzanne, thanks so very much. If you would, guys, let's go over to the analyzer. Put that, if you would, in the key wall behind me. Suzanne, can you take that sector and let's just pull it a little bit farther off to the southwest so that comes into view in the mid portions of the TV set there. There you go. Okay, so this is our dual screen. This is actually showing the rainfall pattern here on the right side of your TV set. On the left, we have the actual wind field. And yeah, if you want to see right there, there you go. We're zoomed in tight now, so you can see there is the hook echo. This is western portions of Hardin County. Co-located with that, we still have some decent rotation going on. So yes, that's why the tornado warning is in effect, and we don't want to put down our guard just yet as this thing continues to lift off towards the north and also the northeast. This warning, by the way, goes for about the next 6 minutes until 5:45 Eastern Daylight Time, or 4:45 Central Time. But still, again, a decent inflow notch showing that it is a well-developed thunderstorm capable of producing some severe weather. Maybe a spin up if that rotation tightens, and certainly a damaging straight line wind gust as well. So yeah, we got to watch that, Suzanne. These little, what we call velocity couplets in this type of an environment, this tropical air mass, doesn't take much to get a little spin up.
In fact, I actually think if we want to switch over to Lynx 1, I actually think this storm looks like that inflow has gotten a little bit stronger just over the past couple of scans, Jay, right there. A little bit clearer depiction of some of that inflow notch right there. So this is right outside of Dyer. Let's get in you a little bit closer here and talk about some of those streets. Slaughter Road, Constantine Drive, right near Vertrees. This is in the Dyer area, right near Highway 401. If you are in this area, you need to be in your place of safety right now. And this looks like it, yeah, it lines up nearly perfectly with the rotation detector that we're seeing at this time. So this is actually showing us the spinning in the atmosphere, and it is pretty clearly identifying this is the bullseye spot. And that's also where we're seeing that hook at this time right here, right, Jay?
Yeah, Suzanne, have you seen any reports coming in out of this storm over the past several minutes? Anyway?
I really haven't had any haven't heard anything about any sort of damage as of right now.
Okay.
I believe we have that video. Do we have the video now so we can show that to Jay from, I believe this is going to be from Grayson County.
Low-hanging wall cloud right there, no question about it. This was back near Caneyville, southwestern Grayson County, when this storm was actually producing a tornado warning at the time. Some of the storm spotters down there were stating that, hey, a couple of funnel clouds were coming down, going back up. I don't see a funnel cloud right there, but I'll tell you what, that is a very well-developed, what we call wall cloud. And if a tornado were to happen, it would come out of this structure right there. But as far as an actual visible funnel, Suzanne, I don't see it. Do you?
Not seeing much rotation. I think sometimes what happens is you can get a scud cloud sometimes that hangs lower in the atmosphere, and it can look really ominous. And a wall cloud is scary to see as well, but it doesn't look like, are we seeing rotation there, Jay? It doesn't look like it.
You know, if you look right here, there's the broad rotation up in the cloud pattern right there, no question about it. So you have the warm, moist air that's coming in and then spiraling up into the actual storm itself. And as that rotation, that spiral action tightens, it can actually come down to the ground in the form of a tornado. So it would happen generally in this area right here if there were going to be a tornado coming down from the sky. I don't see that, but certainly I do see broad rotation in this supercellular thunderstorm that was near Caneyville, and a very, very well-developed wall cloud.
I sometimes think when you see that low-hanging cloud also, that's kind of to the right bottom, it can look so threatening that it looks like one that's about to form. But as Jay pointed out, the actual tornado would form a little bit to the left of that. So if you want to point that out, Jay, so everyone can kind of keep eyes on what to know if they see that in their backyard. By the way, if you do see that in your backyard, probably a good idea to go ahead and head to that basement.
You need to be in the basement, right? Exactly that. But yeah, it's a classic wall cloud. This is very warm, moist air that's feeding into the thunderstorm. That's actually coming into the updraft. And then you can actually see a little swirl right there. And then that warm, moist air spirals up into the thunderstorm, way up into the atmosphere. Under the right conditions, that rotation can then tighten. And if it does, you get a downdraft that happens on the other side of the storm, and that actually brings the tornado down. So if there were going to be a tornado, it would be generally right here, coming out of this, what we call clear slot, in between the clear slot and the wall cloud itself. And again, I don't see that, but it's a well-developed wall cloud. And just goes to show you that this was a supercellular thunderstorm, tornado warned at the time, and for good measure, because in an environment that we have out there today and will have tonight, man, they can produce, no question about it.
And Jay, they're going to go ahead and extend, it looks like, this tornado warning that we currently have. Not clear if they're going to go ahead and call it a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, but just something to keep in mind. Guys, if you are just joining us, let's switch over to Lynx One if we could, to give you some perspective, because I know many of you are probably saying,
there it is,
well, wait
Suzanne.
a second, it's quiet here. Yes, so that is the extension of that same tornado warning. So we're continuing to see the National Weather Service deciding to go against a severe thunderstorm warning and continuing to show us a tornado warning. So this particular tornado warning that we're seeing at this time, this is going to be across areas of Hardin County until 6:30. So again, that's till 6:30. By the way, this does not include the Elizabethtown area. This does, however, include Radcliffe, Vine Grove, into portions of Muldra, West Point. So that's still, you're under the gun there, and I want you to head to your place of safety. And Jay, we were sampling this storm. We're seeing some rotation. We have not yet heard any reports of any damage, and that's some very good news. So I know you're in the metro, maybe in the Louisville area, and you're saying it's just hot and sunny here, but we're watching this.
And we're watching it closely, and we think that's going to be changing over the next couple of hours as the main energy from the remnants of Beryl start lifting into our area. That's why these thunderstorms are actually becoming more and more numerous. And we talked about this the past couple of days, and in specific yesterday, that this was going to become more numerous. The storms were late day on into the evening, and that seems to be coming to fruition right now. And some of these leading thunderstorms, enough wind energy out there that we're starting to see them becoming potentially tornadic. So there's the new tornado warning now in effect for sections of Hardin County, far south southeastern Meade County, and western Bullitt County, just southwest of Shepherdsville, just northwest of E-Town. But if you're in Muldrow, West Point to Belmont, close to Lebanon Junction, just west of you, if you're in Gaffey Heights, I should say, Radcliffe, Rineyville, you are underneath this tornado warning. So if I called out your community or you live very close to those communities, please be in your tornado warning shelter area. Of course, the safest spot below ground, a basement, no basement, lowest level of the house, interior room, put as many walls between you and the outside, just in case there may be debris flying around. It will protect you. This tornado warning, that goes until 6:30 Eastern Daylight Time, as this storm is now lifting into western sections of Hardin County, right around the Four Corners area. This is the potential tornadic part of the storm. You have the inflow, okay? And then you have the hook echo right there, and that is a little bit of what we call a rear flank downdraft. So we're going to watch this very closely, see what happens there. That storm seems to be tightening up and seems to be kind of looking nastier and nastier on the radar scan over the past couple of scans.
And it certainly has continued to tighten up a little bit. It's not unusual to see this kind of cycling through. We do want to let you know, if you're in the Longview area at about 6:05, this storm is going to be headed your way. Red Hill also at about 6:05 near Vine Grove Junction, just at 6:05. The same for Radcliffe. And obviously, we want you to take a lot of caution here, because this storm has had chaotic winds. Then, of course, we've seen it strengthen with better rotation as well. So that certainly is something that bears close watching here.
Rotation still looks fairly broad to me right there, though, so that's some good news. Hopefully it's very chaotic, but it's there. It is occurring. We do have some rotation. As you can see, several areas of shear going on there in western portions of Hardin County. Hopefully it will stay discombobulated and the structure will not be very sound. We'd love to see that and see this thing weaken altogether, but as it stands right now, yes, the tornado warning in effect. This is Salt River Road up towards Four Corners, and then you can see other
Rineyville, Big Springs Road, right along Rineyville, Big Springs Road. That's where we're seeing some fairly decent rotation there. It's just north of Salt River Road. So again, giving you kind of the larger perspective, this is just to the north of Four Corners. We were doing some street level mapping for you. Salt River Road, heading towards Salem School Road, near Perryville. It's just a little bit to the north of Perryville. So again, that's where we're picking up, it looks like, the tightest rotation at this point.
Okay, we're going to continue to watch this very, very closely, because this storm is, again, looking nastier and nastier as we move deeper into the afternoon. And this thing is approaching a pretty good population center in Radcliffe and Vine Grove, also the Rineyville area, for example. There's Perryville, there's Four Corners, and there's that well-developed what we call inflow notch, and then the hook echo just south of there. Rotation, broad as it may be, it is still there. So we have to watch this very, very closely as it moves off to the north. Not sure about 91 miles an hour. Some of those pixelations may be a little bit off, but certainly, Suzanne, there could easily be a damaging wind gust in there of 50, 60 miles an hour.
I think it's something that bears close watching. Anytime you have a thunderstorm that is rotating, that's usually indicative of a pretty powerful storm when you see that kind of chaotic wind at this point. So certainly this has been a storm that we have been tracking really for about the past hour or so, as it was farther down to the south across areas of Grayson County. And we have not had any reports of any damage. I know from Grayson County they had some of the fire departments out, and they were monitoring, but they did not pick up anything. I want to go ahead and take a look at another sample here of, I believe we can pull up some more information, kind of our occurrence for power outages as well, and see if we've got any power outages. I don't think very many. I know we had a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado warning also down across areas of Columbia into Adair County, so we've got about 400 power outages with that one.
And yeah, a few other outages where they've had tornado warnings, actually confirmed tornadoes on the ground closer to Evansville with that cluster that's moving off to the east-northeast. But yeah, right now you can still see, looks like a couple of well-developed thunderstorm clusters now starting to form west of I-65 and another one out there in western Kentucky, far southwestern Indiana. And all these are moving in an east-northeasterly direction. So the tornado warning continues. Suzanne, if you wouldn't mind, please, let's take a look at some other hazards in this storm, potentially maybe hail, as well as there you go, not much hail showing up in this thing, and maybe a little bit, but you would expect that in a warm core system such as this. This is being actually produced by the remnants of a hurricane. So hail, yes, there could be some in the strongest updrafts, but boy, there's certainly going to be some very heavy rainfall and gusty winds as well as everything moves off to the northeast. This particular radar product picking up, pinging 1.5-inch hail. That may be up in the atmosphere, probably a little bit smaller than that if it's occurring at all by the time it reaches the ground. All right, going into 3D mode, we have lots of heavy precipitation being suspended aloft now. Suzanne, that's impressive right there. That really is. This is very heavy rain and or hail that's way up in the atmosphere. And what that's telling us is that updraft that's fueling this storm is so strong that it's suspending all that precipitation. What could be also mixed hail way, way high in the atmosphere. It's a very strong rotating thunderstorm. Something you do see, obviously, with supercells.
And perhaps maybe we'll have to watch out for maybe a microburst threat with that when it collapses. Sometimes when those storms collapse, when they have all of that moisture suspended, sometimes that can cause some problems as well. Let's switch you back here and give you kind of a bigger perspective. If you're in Jefferson County, right now we don't have any thunderstorms. We're not even seeing any rain at this time. The tornado warning that we currently have is for Bullitt County, it's for Hardin County, it's for Meade County. It's just to the south and just to the west of the Louisville Metro. We are going to be watching to see if this particular storm is able to hold together. If it were to hold together, it would be heading into the southern sections of Jefferson County. These storms, Jay, have not been moving all that quickly. We've been really seeing 25 to maybe 35 mile per hour speeds with them, so they're not racing ahead. It's a tropical storm system. It is a different storm system than we normally see when you see like a squall line and it's racing at 70 miles an hour or something like that. We don't have that with this particular storm system.
Yeah, exactly. And typically with situations like this, i.e. severe weather events that occur with a dying tropical system, usually don't get those huge wedge tornadoes that you see sometimes in the springtime. They're quick hitters. They come down, they go back up. They come down, they go back up with these, with some of these supercells that tend to form. So that is the concern right now with the tornado warning that is in effect. Having said that, no confirmed touchdowns so far. We'll continue to knock on wood, but there is some broad rotation showing up still in this particular cell just north of Perryville in western Hardin County. And here's Salt River Road, and you can see Salem School Road, where they kind of merge or are coming together here north of Perryville there in western Hardin County. Well, we're right there, street level mapping for you, ground zero. This is where there could be either a pretty strong wind gust, obviously, or if the rotation were to strengthen and tighten, potential tornado. That's why the tornado warning has been issued. And yes, Suzanne was talking about, notice how the boxes align. It's southwest to northeast. So just follow my hand here. Here's the supercell. If it were to travel the center portion of that box and continue to lift off towards the northeast, it's going to carry it into Jefferson County and the metro. And if it were to hold together, hopefully it will not, but if it were to hold together, we're probably talking after 6:30 to 7 o'clock tonight, that's when we could see some strong thunderstorms in portions of the metro if it holds together. Right now, of immediate concern, you folks in Flaherty, Vine Grove, and Radcliffe. That's when at least that hook echo portion of the storm could impact you or come very close to you anyway. 6 o'clock, 6:03, 6:07. Flaherty, 6 o'clock to Radcliffe, 6:07. The storm is continuing to march its way off towards the north-northeast, speeds of around 20 miles an hour, not very strong, but as we kind of extend out that storm track and go beyond the warning area, if it were to hold together, Shepherdsville, it could come close to you or just west of you at 6:33. Hunters Hollow, 6:40. Hebron Heights, Hebron Estates, I'm sorry, 6:40. Hillview, 6:40. Then we get into the southern portions and central portions of the metro. If it holds together, we're looking at between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. A potential severe storm may impact portions of Jefferson County. So we'll continue to monitor and be on the lookout.
And that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to give everyone kind of a perspective as that continues. What I did is I just extended the time on that storm track to just give you some measure of perspective here of exactly what's happening. So again, that's if it were to hold together at this point.
Okay, so let's kind of reset here. If you're just joining us, here we are just before 6 o'clock on this Tuesday evening. We are in the middle of our news segment that runs from 5 to 6:30, getting ready to push into the 6 o'clock newscast. And we are monitoring and tracking severe storms on this Tuesday evening. And I think this pattern is just starting to evolve. I think we're going to see more severe thunderstorms form as we move deeper into this Tuesday evening. We have a tornado watch that has been issued for the entire viewing area, and that goes until midnight tonight. Hot, humid air outside as we speak, lower 90s, heat indices closer to 100. That is the fuel you need for thunderstorms, the hot, humid air. Once those storms start to build, they can encounter the wind energy from the remnants of Beryl, and that's what we're expecting as we move on into the evening hours. Suzanne?
We are getting some reports of a wall cloud just southwest of North Hardin High School into the Radcliffe area. So certainly something that we're going to be watching closely. So obviously, as this is heading into an area where we have a larger population, I would suspect that we're going to start to get more reports, and then it will be up to the National Weather Service whether they in fact want to continue with the tornado warning. We have not had any reports of any damage from this particular storm system, and it is moving into a fairly populated area, obviously, so it'll be very interesting for us to see. But if you're under the gun in Radcliffe, Vine Grove, Muldra, into Bullitt County, Meade County, or sections of northern Hardin County north of Elizabethtown, those are the locations where we need you to obviously head to the basement or to an interior room.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing, Suzanne, if this were producing, we'd hear about it, right? Because it's going into that population center. Now, a lot of eyeballs on this storm right now. So the more we don't hear about a tornado on the ground, great, let's keep that going. But as Suzanne just talked about, we got a wall cloud out there, and that implies some pretty decent rotation in the thunderstorm. And with the hot, muggy air in place, that wind energy coming in from the southwest, it wouldn't take much to produce an actual tornado, and that's why the warning has been issued for the region. Suzanne, where are we looking?
So this is a look at 65 into the Elizabethtown area, right near portions of the Bluegrass Parkway. So what I'd like to do is I want to take a look at a few more of our traffic cameras to just give you some perspective on what's happening across the area. So again, that's 65 right now near the Bluegrass Parkway. This is a look at the Bluegrass Parkway where it looks breezy and just fine so far right now. Let's go ahead and take a look. We can show you some more of our cameras here to give you some perspective of what it looks like in the metro. We have that camera that is obviously showing a pretty darkening sky here on the southern horizon. And Jay, that would match up pretty clearly with what we're seeing certainly farther down to the south. That's where we have seen the lion's share of the severe storms.
Yeah, and those storms are indeed working off to the north-northeast. So again, we kind of extended out those tracks. If they were to hold together, either of these storms could be impacting the metro between 6:30 and 7 o'clock tonight. And that would be probably just one of what could be several thunderstorms to come through the metro surrounding regions from early this evening up until about midnight tonight, as we're just getting underway with these scattered storms starting to form. So again, we still have a strong thunderstorm here, southern portions of Meade County, far western and northern sections of Hardin County, very close to Vine Grove, where we had reports of a wall cloud. This is lifting off towards the north, heading towards the Radcliffe area. So some rotation, nothing that really screams to me, hey, there's actually a strong tornado on the ground. No, I don't see that right now, but you can see broad rotation with our rotation detector, some of the brighter greens. And when you see the greens next to the reds here on the actual wind field pattern, that implies, yeah, we do have some rotation going on. And down to street level mapping there, Suzanne.
Yeah, that's right. So this is right near Vine Grove Junction, South Logsdon Parkway, near West Lincoln Trail Boulevard. This is just right near the Joe Prather. This is into the Vine Grove area, guys. Rogersville, where we are picking up some of those stronger winds, and they are matching up with some other stronger winds. So not clear that this is actually on the ground with the winds like this, but the bottom line is we are sampling some stronger winds here. This is in the Red Hill area, again, just north of the Vine Grove area. So we'll be watching for that in northern Hardin County, where we're picking up some pretty good indication of some stronger storm activity here. So when we put that together, you can see that does match up where we're seeing kind of that area that looks a little bit stronger right there.
Absolutely.
Rotation.
A little bit of a hook right there. So we're going to watch this closely. So potential rotation on the radar scan and or just a damaging straight line wind gust trying to form and come out of this thing as well as it moves towards northern portions of Hardin County. All right, here we are, top of the hour, a little after 6 o'clock, 6:01 to be exact on this Tuesday evening. If you're just now joining us, we've been tracking the potential for strong to severe storms for the past couple of hours. We've had several thunderstorms that have formed, that have rotated, that have actually caused the National Weather Service to put out tornado warnings. The latest warning right here, just northwest of E-Town, included Radcliffe, Vine Grove, up into western portions of Bullitt County, that is, including the Stites area up to near West Point in northern Hardin County. And you can see another severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued for Grayson County up into southern Breckenridge County for another cluster of strong storms. Southern Grayson County, just south of the Western Kentucky Parkway. Suzanne, that looks like it's going to cruise right through Litchfield. It's on Litchfield's doorstep right now. Let's
zoom in and show you what's happening right there, because that is a new warning that has just been issued moments ago. So again, this is right along the Shrewsbury area, just to the south of Litchfield, and it's moving at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Let me go ahead and just put a little movement on here to give you some perspective. And this has been an area that has been hard hit. These storms here, Jay, almost appear that they are moving due north, though, don't they?
Yeah.
So these are moving a little bit more north.
Boy, that's a tough stretch, a tough travel stretch right there, the Western Kentucky Parkway across Grayson County. Stay off those roads, because that is extremely heavy rainfall all across the Western Kentucky Parkway right now, the length of Grayson County. But yes, as Suzanne talked about, this thing taking more of a northerly direction than what the supercells are. Of course, when a supercell forms, it tends to deviate a little bit more to the right. That's normal. But nonetheless, we're looking at some scattered strong storms. Heavy wind, heavy rainfall right now in and around Litchfield, Decaneyville, and then off to the northeast, close to Big Clifty, everything tracking northbound. A decent wind gust right there, Suzanne, that could be easily 50, 60 miles per hour coming through the Litchfield area.
Yeah, that's right. So let's get in you a little bit closer here. So this is right along the parkway, just outside of Millwood, Black Rock, heading into the Litchfield area. So I suspect we'll get a pretty good sampling of what's going on, since that is moving through such a well-populated area. As far as shear, we are picking up some rotation here right into the Litchfield area as well, near Black Rock and portions of Millwood. This is just outside Clarkson, but we are seeing some rotation north of Clarkson. Let's go ahead ahead and put on the storm relative and show you what's happening there. Okay.
Yeah, don't see a lot of intense rotation. Certainly it looks like a long, what we call shelf cloud rolling through the region. And on the leading edge, some pretty strong winds that could be 40, 50, maybe even isolated 60 miles per hour in a few spots. And keep in mind, we've seen a lot of wind, we've seen a lot of rain just over the last week or so. So it's possible some of these trees are already weakened. Those regions that had big storms roll on through during the 4th of July holiday weekend. Well, here we are late on this Tuesday afternoon, now pushing into early Tuesday evening. Still a tornado-warned thunderstorm moving up through northern portions of Hardin County, far southeastern Meade County, and this right here, this is sections of west and northwestern Bullitt County. You are underneath a tornado warning. Most dangerous part of the storm where you see the greens and the reds, where we have some wind shear out there, some twisting of the winds ongoing close to Gaffey Heights, the Dietz Acres area, Red Hill, down to Radcliffe, and everything you see here lifting off to the north and also the northeast. Thank goodness this thing is not produced, because this storm has been warned for a tornado ever since it was southwest the viewing area. This supercell has held together. Hopefully it will weaken though, Suzanne, because next stop is going to be portions of the metro.
Right, and so let's give you some perspective here, Jay, and I think that's a great point. So this is a tornado warning that does include portions of Bullitt County. Notice that they trim it back, so that's going to continue to happen as it moves out of the area. So right now into areas of northern Hardin County, into Meade County, and also into portions of western Bullitt County. You can see that right there. And if this were to extend, we would watch this moving into the southern sections of Jefferson County. Right now it's moving anywhere from about 25 to 35 miles per hour. I'm going to do, Jay, kind of a broad track on this to show you where it's headed. So it's moving anywhere from about 25 to 35 miles per hour. So Valley Station at around 628, Hunter's Hollow at about 634, Minor Lane Heights at about 635. I'll add some cities, Jay, if you want to read them off as I add a few more cities for us.
Sure, absolutely. And again, keep in mind, we're not saying there's going to be a tornado in these areas. What we're saying is that if the supercell were to maintain its strength and reach the metro, this is the approximate time it would be reaching these communities. The Valley Station area around 6:30. Same with Waverly Hills. You get towards Auburndale around 6:34. Parkwood around 6:35. Minor Lane Heights, the same, 6:35. So moving into south and western portions of the metro, 6:30-ish, and if it holds together, getting towards central portions of the metro, maybe even downtown, as we get closer to 7 o'clock. I.e., if the storm holds together, 6:30 to 7, it could impact portions of the metro area. Still some wind energy there, still a little bit of rotation, but Suzanne, I got to be honest, I don't see anything that screams tornado. I see a strong wind gust, certainly, where you saw those brighter reds on that previous scan, but yeah, as you can see, we've got some wind out there.
It's a messy storm system that we have going on here, and it has moved through obviously a very highly populated area. So we haven't yet had any reports of any sort of funnel clouds or any tornadoes that have been on the ground or any damage at this point. What I'd like to do is go ahead and pull up some of our different products that we have and see if we've got any power outages showing up across some of our counties. So as of right now, I think the good news is we have not had any power outages reported from this particular set of storms as of right now. That doesn't mean that they haven't happened, but as of right now, usually that's a pretty quick product that we have, and we don't have any reports of any power outages at this time, so that's some good news for us there. So again, we still have that tornado warning, that's this here, and then we also have that severe thunderstorm warning. That's across areas of Grayson County into portions of Breckenridge County. So obviously an area down across Grayson County that has already had a bumpy afternoon, Jay.
Yeah, and as we were talking about yesterday, the day before that, we were saying, you know, not everybody's going to see severe weather out of this. It's going to be scattered in nature. That is playing out as we were talking about, and I think that trend will continue. Yeah, the storms will get a little bit more numerous into the evening and will likely be severe in scattered locations, so we can't put down our guard, but nonetheless, I do think this is going to be a scattered event rolling into this Tuesday evening. Live look, Sheraton, Jeffersonville, looking back south. Clark Memorial Bridge, downtown Louisville, those are the storm tops that we're now starting to see from the storms coming out of Hardin County, pushing towards southeastern Meade County, as well as northwestern Bullitt, and they're continuing to lift off towards the north and also the northeast. Live look from our tower cam right here on Melwood Avenue, looking back off to the west, and you can see the western horizon. Things are fairly quiet. This is the Yum Center. This camera's on top of the Yum Center, kind of adjacent, if you will, crossing the Clark Memorial Bridge, southern portions of Indiana. So partly to mostly cloudy skies, certainly across all of the viewing area. Then in isolated spots where we have enough lift in the atmosphere, we are getting some of these isolated to widely scattered storms popping up. And I think they will become a little bit more numerous into the evening. For that reason, because conditions are right for severe weather, including the possibility of isolated spin-ups, we have a tornado watch that's in effect until midnight tonight. This is the entire viewing area, folks. So your detailed 12-hour forecast. We're hovering around 90 as we speak. Heat indices closer to the middle and upper 90s. Again, a severe alert in effect for the entire viewing area for those scattered storms, okay? Everybody has a chance to see a strong storm as we move through the evening, but I still believe they'll be scattered. And then as we move closer to midnight, a lot of the energy is going to be moving away from us, pushing up into Ohio. So that means the severe threat will be coming down. So we'll downgrade from a severe alert late this evening to more impact alert by midnight. And then after that, hey, we're done. 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, we're quiet. We're turning a little less humid, and those temperatures dropping into the upper 60s to near 70 by tomorrow morning. So really, think about it. It's the next 5 to 6 hours we have to get through, and there will be the potential for some scattered, strong to severe storms. We have the isolated severe storms, widely scattered storms in the viewing area right now. More lift, more energy coming in out of western Kentucky, southwestern Indiana. This batch of storms is forecast to continue lifting off towards the east-northeast. Once we get this out of the region, that should be it. Behind it is the less humid air, the more stable air. So I think that is the main zone associated with Beryl's remnants that'll shift on through a little bit later on tonight.
And it has been a very active area of, unfortunately, severe weather. Jay, you were mentioning just the sheer number of tornado warnings that were issued yesterday along the path of this storm. This was a Category 5 storm. It made landfall as a Category 1 storm, and it's still packing a punch. And you can see, still holding on to some of its tropical characteristics. It's an area of low pressure that's continuing to spin around, and it is triggering a number of tornado warnings. We did have reports of a confirmed tornado a little bit closer over to the areas of the southern Wabash Valley. For our interest, we have not had anything confirmed as of yet, but we are still, of course, continuing to monitor for that tornado warning that we have and that severe thunderstorm warning that we have for portions of the WLKY viewing area. So we'll be watching that very closely for you. When we take a look at the big picture here, you're going to notice a couple of things. We have storms across areas of Jackson County for our friends just south of Seymour. We also have storms into areas of northern Scott County and southern Jennings County. Those are not severe. They don't have warnings on them at this time. The storms that are farther down to the south, here's what we're watching. The storms to the south and to the west are stronger. They are packing a punch, and they are rotating. We're watching those storms moving across areas of Grayson County. They're going to be moving into Breckenridge County in the next couple of minutes. Then we're watching this storm right here with the tornado warning on it. So that's in northern Hardin County, moving into portions of Bullitt County. So those are the areas that we are closely watching. That being said, I would not be surprised if we saw additional warnings issued later tonight. Jay?
Okay, to piggyback on that, Suzanne, let's go ahead and zoom in tight on the tornado-warned storm, and we'll kind of refresh here, tell you what's going on from Radcliffe north to Muldrow, West Point, Pitts Point, on into western and northwestern Bullitt County. Still a tornado warning in effect, still some chaotic wind flow out there, a little bit of twisting of the winds ongoing. And as we, Suzanne, if you would, put on our velocity scan if you can, and do we have any? Yeah, it's broad. It's broad in nature. Boy, we've got nothing that screams a tornado, and that's obvious because this has gone through a big population center. If there were a tornado, we'd be hearing about it, no question about it. I don't see that right now. Suzanne, you haven't had any reports of funnels or anything like that,
No, the
right?
only thing we have is a possible funnel cloud was reported to the Litchfield Fire Department south of Litchfield. So we'll see, you know, it was not a person who was a storm spotter necessarily, but someone who said that it was difficult to see because the rain was blocking the view. So we had a difficult time verifying rotation. So,
okay.
And that took place about 10 minutes ago. So I suspect that is probably with that warning that we're seeing across areas of Grayson County, that one that's for Grayson County, traveling due north into Breckenridge County. So for that one, for this particular storm, Jay, I haven't had any reports as of yet. By the way, chime in if you've seen anything, guys. Send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Hop onto the Facebook page. Let us know what's happening in your area. It is always super appreciated.
No question about it. But yeah, this is the storm that has been warned for a possible tornado the last couple of hours as it's been moving slowly northeast across the Commonwealth, now holding not too far away from the metro, but from what we have been seeing, the latest radar scans, velocity scans, what we call correlation coefficients, I don't see anything that screams tornado. So some good news. We're hoping that trend will continue. Certainly some gusty winds, very heavy rainfall, and still a decent what we call inflow notch. So this thing still has the energy, warm, moist air feeding into the storm right there. And there's the low-hanging what we call somewhat of a hook echo on the very southern flank there. So it's still rotating right here immediately off to the northeast of Radcliffe. And that's why NWS has, extended this tornado warning, keeps it going. But hopefully that thing will weaken as it lifts off to the north. Again, next stop is, as long as it holds together, we could be looking at some pretty heavy rainfall, thunder and lightning in northern sections of Bullitt County and even the metro, likely between 6:30 and 7 o'clock tonight. Other heavy rain showers now starting to take shape south of you folks in Corridon in southern Harrison County. Not severe, but nonetheless some heavy rainfall.
And I'll just do a broad track on this for us to just kind of take us into portions of the metro to give you some idea of where this is going to be headed. And again, that doesn't mean that it's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning for this area, but just to give you some perspective. This will be near Pioneer Village at about 6:39, right near Minor Lane Heights at about 6:41, for our friends in Okolona, right by the airport at about 6:44. Our current time is 6:17. And that's something that Jay has been talking about over the past hour or so, the slow movement of these storms. These storms are not racing out ahead. We're talking about storms moving 30, 35 miles per hour. In some cases, Jay, 25 miles per hour.
And as a result, they're putting down some very heavy rainfall. So in addition to maybe a strong wind gust, as the evening hours wear on, maybe a spin up in localized spots. We have to be on the lookout for some localized flooding as well because, boy, this is a tropical air mass, and some of these storms are going to be squeezing out a lot of that rainfall. So here we are with the scattered storms moving into the WLKY viewing area, have been the past couple of hours, many of them along and especially west of I-65. Then the storms become more numerous as you get out into far southwestern Indiana, western Kentucky. That batch right there, that is the main lift associated with the remnants of Beryl. Once that moves across any one location, that'll be it for the severe threat. This is going to take its sweet time, though, getting through the viewing area, and it will take much of the evening to do exactly that. All right, so heavy rainfall here in Pitts Point, here in Muldrow, at least just east of you, up to near West Point. This thing is right on top of the radar as we speak. So sampling might be disrupted a little bit, Suzanne, but still
Can I
a strong storm.
Do you want me to pull up a different, pull up maybe a different radar for us?
Okay, there's that tornado warning. And guys, again, this continues until 6:30 tonight. Tornado warning, northern portions of Hardin County, far western Bullitt County, and a small sliver of far eastern Meade County. Then you have the severe thunderstorm warning, Suzanne.
Yeah.
Includes Litchfield up to near Glendean, close to Hardinsburg, really the southern one half of Breckenridge County. Those are the only 2 warnings we have right now in the viewing area. So we will continue to watch things very closely. And then outside of our viewing area, closer to the Wabash, that line is lighting up right now with rotating storms and also tornado warnings. All right, outside at this time, live look from on top of the Yum Center. It's overcast. It's very warm and muggy. 89 degrees, humidity 55%. The dew point tropical 71. When you see those numbers, the dew point in the 70s, it is very close. It is very uncomfortable, and that's the tropical air mass we are dealing with on this Tuesday evening. That live look is from the Sheraton back towards Louisville, 2nd Street Bridge, and again you can see the darkening clouds, the storm tops, if you will, the anvils from those storms not too far away from the metro, now working into Bullitt County, portions of southern Harrison County and far northern Hardin County. Again, that storm seems to be weakening somewhat, though.
So here are the reports that we have so far. A shelf cloud with a ragged wall cloud about 10 minutes ago at about 6:09. And then we do have a forecaster reported near Vine Grove who said the storm was spinning rapidly, but that he, in fact, never saw a tornado. So, you know, Jay, exactly what we were talking about. We were seeing the storms rotating. Just because a storm is rotating doesn't mean that it's producing a tornado. A lot of our storms that are very strong will have some measure of rotation to them. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are producing a tornado. It just means in the upper parts of the atmosphere, we're seeing that spin, usually indicative of a strong tornado, excuse me, a strong thunderstorm, Jay.
Exactly, yes, and that's what we've been looking at. So this storm, again, not looking very organized now. I'd be very, very surprised if National Weather Service actually extended that farther off to the north. They may with a severe thunderstorm warning, but I don't see anything that's screaming tornado right now anyway. It's not to say that something couldn't happen down the road, as again, we're just now getting into this environment that's conducive to strong and severe storms and even rotating thunderstorms, but certainly very, very heavy rainfall, not only here in Bullitt County, portions of northern Hardin County, and kind of scattered about Harrison County, but showers and storms becoming numerous, more numerous along the Breckenridge, Grayson County line. That storm right there, severe. Suzanne, you said that that had a wall cloud on it as it moved across Litchfield?
Yes, that's right, that they did have reports of a wall cloud associated with that particular storm as it moved through the Litchfield area. That's not surprising there. That looked, you were talking about that storm earlier as it was moving right along the parkway, and you were pointing out that there was a pretty decent wind right along that storm as it continues to push off to the north.
Yeah, and this is all going to be cruising its way northward. So if you're near Hardinsburg or just south of there, you've got some pretty heavy weather heading in your direction in the form of heavy rainfall and some gusty winds, no question about it. Some ominous skies as those storms track off towards the north. Tornado watch, that continues until midnight tonight, and things could get still rather bumpy in scattered locations of the WLKY viewing area the deeper we go into the evening. You know, I've been kind of looking at all the computer model data, a lot of these different what we call mesoscale models. We get a ton of them, and many of them have been kind of honing in on a time period between 9 and 11 o'clock for that line, that last line, that one right there, to shift across the metro. So we'll wait and see if that actually happens. Just know as we move into mid and late evening, that's when that will likely be shifting through much of the viewing area. And once we get beyond midnight, I think we'll pretty much be done. Suzanne, that one looks a little interesting now.
It does. In fact, a severe thunderstorm warning just issued for this one right here for our friends in Jennings County, and that's for winds potentially, looks like right near 60 miles per hour possibly. And we were watching that storm. We're trying to watch all the storms out there, even when they don't have a warning on them, but we were watching that storm there. That's right near Kaminsky, right near Hilltown there, where we're starting to see that little hook showing up there. That's right alongside State Road 3. So this is into portions of Jennings County. Let me just give you a few tracks on this particular storm. So this is going to be near Hilltown, Paris Crossing, right near areas of West County Road 850. So also near South County Road, looks like 75W as well. So we do have some more warnings being issued now for portions of southern Indiana. That continues until 7 o'clock. Again, that's for Jennings County at this point, and that is for the threat possibly of some strong winds of 60 miles per hour. We're seeing that little inflow right there just north of Hilltown.
Yep, and there it is. There's the inflow Suzanne was alluding to, and you can see there's the hook that's trying to form. And again, this is Jennings County. Here's Jefferson County, Indiana, and you get back towards Scott County in Indiana as well. This is holding about 50 miles or so off to the northeast of the metro area. A storm that actually fired up really on top of Clark County, and as it's been tracking off to the north is now showing signs of rotation. So that's what we're going to be dealing with as we move deeper into this Tuesday evening. All right, here we are, kind of resetting the picture here for you. It is 6:25 on this Tuesday evening, and scattered thunderstorms really starting to take shape across the viewing area.
The tornado warning, they've allowed it to expire a little bit earlier. As you were pointing out, Jay, you were not picking up any rotation there, so that you were making that suggestion that not enough was being seen with that one to indicate that it needed to be extended further. And that has been the case. It is not going to be extended into the Louisville Metro. But when we take a look at the big picture, it takes a while to actually knock off some of these warnings here. That being said, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning for Breckinridge County, moving just outside Grayson County, lifting up to the north, that one there. And then we, of course, just had this one issued for areas of Jennings County for our friends in southern Indiana, and that will continue until 7 o'clock tonight.
Okay, we're going to just hang on with you just another few minutes, and we're going to get you back to programming, and we're going to get you back to the CBS Evening News. As long as no other tornado warnings come in, we'll stay with programming. Once this line gets a little bit closer, I suspect things will start to heat up once again. We'll start to see more warnings issued, and as these storms move on through, we got you covered here, folks. WLKY, WLKY.com. Be sure and download the WLKY app as well. Great information right there at your fingertips, no question about it. So the tornado warning here south and southwest of the metro will be allowed to expire. That storm has weakened enough that NWS is saying, nope, no more. We're going to let that one go. Heavy rain, though, will be lifting north into portions of the metro, and maybe some decent wind gusts. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings, southern Breckinridge County, far northern Grayson County. A brunt of the heavier activity has crossed over, though, into southern Breckinridge County, and this is lifting towards you folks in Hardinsburg. Be on the lookout for heavy rainfall and gusty winds and some thunder and lightning. We also have heavy rainfall around Corydon right now. There's the light rain that's building into the metro from a storm that is weakening. The supercell that's been alive and well, producing tornado warnings ever since southern Kentucky, is finally dying out as it approaches the metro. And again, that warning will be allowed to expire and go away. And we have additional stronger storms that are forming. Nice little hook echo right there trying to form with the rotation in this storm near Comiskey. This is southern portions of Jennings County. And you can certainly see, yes, a little bit of rotation. The green signifying winds blowing towards the bottom portion of your TV set. Red the opposite direction. It's fairly weak, but it is rotating. Certainly enough rotation to produce maybe a wind gust and perhaps a little bit of a small hail. And you have other heavy rain showers running from near Seymour back to north of Brownstown. Then we get into another batch. This is what we're going to be waiting for, so to speak, as we move through this Tuesday evening. The main lift from the remnants of Beryl, now out near the Wabash, now down to near Evansville and western Kentucky. That should shift across the viewing area as we move through the evening. For that reason, we're going to hold on to this tornado watch for the next several hours. This goes until midnight tonight, and you can see this is for the entire WLKY viewing area. Suzanne, any last comments?
We haven't had any reports as of right now, so we're going to continue, obviously, to monitor this with that tornado watch until midnight. As Jay was mentioning, we are still watching for that line of severe storms back out to the west to continue to make their progression off to the north and to the northeast. Jay was suggesting any time from about 9 to 11 o'clock tonight, we'll be watching for some of those additional storms. And obviously, Jay is going to keep you posted. Matt Milosevic will be here. The whole team will be watching. And you can always follow along at WLKY.com as well.
Okay, folks, so we're going to get you back to programming here. Know that we will be watching the skies here at WLKY, no question about it. That tornado watch, again, in effect until midnight tonight. The entire WLKY weather team, we have you covered as we'll be watching this event until it exits all of the viewing area. And again, that will be occurring around midnight tonight or shortly thereafter. Things will be turning much, much quieter as we move through the overnight period. Again, we got you covered here at WLKY. Thanks for watching. Thanks for allowing us to keep you safe and informed. Let's get you back to the CBS Evening News.